G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Let's go. Am I the arsehole for the way I reacted to my parents' open relationship and no longer paying rent? I, 18 male, live with my parents. I've been paying rent since I was 16, since my parents would be financially screwed if I wasn't helping out. A few weeks ago, my parents told me they are seeing someone and that their relationship is open. I didn't give a crap since it wasn't affecting me up until this guy they are seeing started staying over nights. He treats this place like it's his, tries to tell me what to do, and eats all of my food. I tried talking to my parents about it, but they just said that it's their house, so they can have who they want here. I really tried to put up with it until this guy tried to discipline my dog. I flipped my crap. It was most certainly not the way you discipline a dog, and I'm already sick of his crap. I yelled the house down, calling him all sorts like dumb piece of crap freeloader, and some more vile crap that probably is way too screwed up to say here. My parents rushed to see what was going on and tell me off, but instead I told them off, calling them terrible parents, that they can shove their house up their ass, and that I'm not going to pay rent to live in a house that I have no say in. That dumb C word can cover my rent. I've since been staying with my boyfriend. My parents recently texted me asking me for my rent. I then told them to F off and reminded them of what I said. I feel like I'm not wrong to pay rent anymore, but I did go so overboard with my words. Am I the arsehole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. Parents' new boy toy has been staying over, acting like it's his house. I flipped my crap, and I refuse to live there and pay rent anymore. I'm feeling a little bit of conflict here because there's two different things going on at the same time. From what you're giving me here, it doesn't sound like your parents are asking you to apologize for your words. And if they haven't pointed that out as an issue, I don't know why you're asking if you're an asshole here. Clearly, they're expecting you to accept their new adventurous lifestyle. Why can't they accept a few adventurous words from you in the process? Are you the asshole for not paying rent in a house that you're not currently residing in because you're staying out of house? I don't think so. Especially given the circumstances, I think you are unwelcome in your own home. So I'm going to go with not the asshole for this one. Your parents have seemingly created a hostile environment, and I don't blame you for acting the way you have. In the comments, not the arsehole. They've turned you into a paying tenant at 16, and I'm glad that you're out. Do you have your dog with you? That would have been the final straw for me as well. OP replies, yeah, I have my dog with me. We're attached at the hip unless I'm going to work. Not the arsehole. They can't expect you to pay rent if you are no longer living with them. In some ways, this may be the best thing that ever happened to you. It sounds like they haven't been the best parents and have been milking you financially for housing expenses and food. Better to be on your own and only responsible for supporting yourself. This right here. Yeah, you may have overreacted a bit with your language, but please don't feel guilty at all about moving out and your parents' financial situation. Even if the freeloader wasn't in the picture and hadn't tried to abuse your dog, your decision would have been perfectly reasonable to move out and find a new place just because you wanted your own space. But given everything that's actually happened, it is actually for the best for your and your dog's mental health to have actually moved out. Not the arsehole at all. And edit, I actually agree with the comments below that say OP didn't overreact. They're Australian. Swearing is expected. Source, am Australian. I've never seen a post so explicitly Aussie without mentioning OP is Aussie. You want to get more Aussie? How about the bloody Socceroos beating Denmark? How's that? And now, onto the update. So it's been just over a week since I posted. Thank you guys for your judgments and advice. I have blocked my parents on everything and have gone no contact. After just over a week, I already feel like a new person without them in my lives. My boyfriend has been my rock throughout all of this. I was a mess of tears and anger the first few days, and he's the one who got me through it. I'm currently staying with him, renting, but we have been looking for our own place together since the lease on the current place runs out soon. I went to my GP and got a mental health plan done up, so I should be seeing a therapist soon, free of charge. It's not a huge update, but I'm doing a lot better in so little time from just cutting them out of my life. I'm looking forward to the future. In the comments, I'm really happy to hear that it's working out for you and that you're out of that toxic situation. Well done. Phew, good for you and your titanium spine. Sometimes when a bad environment has become your normal, and you then suddenly move into a better, healthier environment, it can be shocking and almost euphoric. Enjoy your new life, and well done. How's the puppy doing? Hoping it came with you. OP responds, he's doing great. He loves the yard. The one in the old place was decent, but this one's much bigger and near a nice bush trail that we can walk him. I'm so glad that you got him away from them too. It's always hardest at the beginning, but it'll get easier, and you're already seeing your mental health get better away from them. Don't downplay this. This is a huge update. It's a big step to move out and cut contact, but it's good that you're putting yourself first. Kudos to your boyfriend being there for you. And now, on to the final update. Me and my boyfriend are now in a new place that we are renting together. We just moved in a week ago, so have been pretty busy. It feels good to share a house as equals with the man that you love. My dog has settled in nicely, and seems like even he is doing better out of that environment. He especially loves living with my boyfriend. As for my parents, I haven't heard from them at all since I have their numbers blocked, and they don't know where I live. But I did hear from some family that their boyfriend ran out one night, and they woke up to a lot of their valuables and cash gone. Who could have seen that one coming? And as for me, I've been seeing a therapist. It's been going well. I've been put on antidepressants as well, since I've been diagnosed with depression, a few other things, and comorbid PTSD. I'm still obviously a work in progress, but I feel like it's a very good start to getting better. The first few sessions were hard though, and I had to have my boyfriend with me during them, but it's gotten easier to talk to my therapist, and I no longer need my boyfriend there. For once, I'm looking forward to the future. I hope OP's parents stay the hell away from him and get the help they need, but mostly stay away. If they manage to get the help they need, they should stay away, because I think he has suffered enough. If they don't get the help they need, all the more they should stay away. Our next post is titled, My wife, 53 female, is not okay with me, 55 male, paying for part of my ex-wife's daughter's wedding. My ex-wife and I were high school sweethearts, and we married as soon as we graduated. We stayed together for 5 years and had a daughter. We'll call her Kara. The relationship wasn't working, so we split and my ex came out as a lesbian. My ex later had another daughter, Hannah, via donor. I ended up becoming a father to Hannah. But my ex didn't ask me to. We were on very friendly terms and already co-parenting Kara, so it just came naturally. I met my now wife 3 years later, and she was very understanding of the situation, and she took the role of stepmother to both kids. We also have a son. Hannah is getting married next year, and my ex and her partner and I all will be paying for the wedding. We talked about this before including my wife, and everyone was fine with it. But now my wife tells me she doesn't like the idea of me paying for the wedding of a child who isn't really mine. She thinks that money should go towards our son's education instead. I already saved some money for our son that should cover him for a couple of semesters. He can always work part-time or apply for financial aid as well. But still, my wife is upset and thinks I've taken care of her enough, and it's time to basically exit her life. I'm shocked because she seemed to absolutely adore Hannah, but I guess she never really considered her family. She made it known that she wouldn't care if it was Kara because she's my actual blood daughter. But I consider Hannah my daughter, and my ex's partner has also been a parent to Kara, including financially, despite no relation. So it's not one-sided. Edit, I'm putting in $1,200, and so is my ex and her partner. The money is coming from my separate account. Any other expenses will be covered by Hannah and her fiancé. They aren't having anything extravagant. I have way more saved for my son. If him or Kara get married, I will put in for them too. Now in the comments, all of this over $1,200? I thought that it was like $25K since she wanted you to use it for your son's education. Just give them the money and move on. Using it for their son's education was really just a lame excuse. She just doesn't want her husband to pay anything because she isn't blood. OP's wife sounds awful. Agreed, he sounds like a wonderful man being there for his kids, and the wife sounds bitter and hateful. Blood makes you related, loyalty makes you family. Here's the deal. Hannah is your daughter, blood doesn't mean crap, being present and involved does. This was established before you were even married. Therefore, helping with her wedding is not only acceptable, but absolutely appropriate as you are her father. I adopted my daughter and have 2 boys of my own. I love her just as much as my boys. Well, probably more, because daughters always hold a special place in a father's heart. I think you need to have a candid talk with your wife about this and how important it is for you. This, being present and involved, is what matters. In the words of Yondo, just because he's your father doesn't mean he's your daddy. And now, on to the update. First off, I am definitely giving 1.2k plus a little extra, and it's coming from my separate personal account. Secondly, my wife was involved in the original discussion about the money. Sorry I didn't make that clear enough in the original post. I've had the chance to sit down and talk to my wife, and it turns out this whole thing isn't so much about Hannah, but the fact that we do not have a daughter, or rather a living daughter. We had another child after our son, and it was a girl, but she was stillborn. It was heartbreaking for the both of us. We tried again, but she miscarried early on. She said paying for the wedding is a reminder that the only daughters I will ever have are by my ex. She is sad that she will never get to help plan our daughter's wedding or see me walk her down the aisle. She brought up other milestones and mother-daughter things too, like prom and going shopping together, getting their nails done, etc. She doesn't really think that I need to exit Hannah's life, but she does think that it's deeply unfair that Hannah gets to experience having me as a father while our blood daughter doesn't. I understand where she's coming from, and so I've been spending much more time with her and our son. I have a trip for us planned after New Year's, and I bought them both gifts that they've been wanting for a while. I'm just going to continue trying to be the best husband and father that I can and make her and our family feel valued. My relationship with Hannah and Kara is just as important, but I don't want anyone to feel less than or jealous. In the comments, OP, she needs grief counseling. Thank you for being the dad that I didn't have. My stepmom tried to replace me with another daughter. Always complained about not having a shopping buddy and girl stuff. I appreciate you sticking up for your kid. This woman doesn't sound like she's trying to replace anybody. She's experienced a tragedy and didn't get proper help and admitted that she was wrong. While it's tragic and heartbreaking that your wife lost the opportunity to have a daughter together, she really cannot hold that against you and your daughter with your previous wife. Your daughter is no less your daughter because of your later tragedy. Surely your wife understands this. You sound like a wonderful, loving, and considerate man. This is clearly a difficult situation, and I'm sorry for all the loss and hurt. I hope everyone in your life knows how loved and cared for they are, and that Hannah has a wonderful day. I hope things have been well for OP and his wife. Grief over a child lost is horrific. Dude's a great-ass dad, and I hope he managed to work his way through this with his family. Ugh, it really is horrific. I completely understand where his wife is coming from. You don't just grieve the child you lost, but every tiny milestone too. But 2 separate issues, no? It's not like, if I can't have mum-daughter moments, then Hannah can't too? It could be incredibly hard for her to see her partner doing the things that she only wishes she could do with her daughter. Stillbirth and pregnancy loss are still very taboo subjects. I lost my son 7.5 months ago, the night before his C-section due to a blood clot. She really needs help from a good grief counselor who specializes in this kind of loss. Support groups are helpful as well. This could be very hard for her to do. Hell, she may even want to be more involved but can't due to there being triggering processes or events around. It's an incredibly volatile path to navigate without outside help. I got into therapy days after he died. I found the baby loss community. I'm doing quote-unquote good for where I am in my journey. Some people will never get over their loss. Her husband could use it too. The fathers are very much forgotten, and focus is mainly on the mother's loss. Him just glossing over it and giving gifts, etc. to distract from his own grief is one possibility. Our next post is titled, "My white husband confessed to me that he enjoys race play fantasies. I'm black and my husband is white. Yesterday, he admitted to me that recently he started to like something called race play, which means that he has sexual fantasies about racist situations. To be honest, I still don't know a lot about it, but an example that he gave me is that he has a fantasy about being a plantation owner while I'm a slave that he keeps as a mistress. I can't stand to look at him anymore because all I feel is disgust. He knows that I've been in relationships where I was objectified in the past, and I know that people can't control their sexual interest, but I can't separate this image of my husband being attracted to racist situations from the man that I fell in love with and married. He asked me if I'm willing to give it a chance, but I told him that I didn't want to, and now he's sleeping in the guest room because we had a fight about me not being supportive. I think this might end my marriage, but I love him and I want to work through it somehow. In the comments, not wanting to do something that you were really uncomfortable with doesn't mean you were not being supportive. So in his mind, if you were supporting him, you would just go along with his fantasy, even if it's distasteful and disturbing to you? OP replies, yes, he does want me to go along with it. He thinks that I might like it if I give it a chance, but I don't want to. I'm glad you're honoring your boundaries and not doing it. OP says, thank you. He is still mad at me, but I refuse to do this. Is he mad that you are free and have a choice? How deep does this resentment go? Expecting you to process this already is a big ask. Being mad that you have free will is suspicious. OP says, yes, he is mad that I'm not being supportive of him. Supportive? FFS, I am so mad for you. I think it's disgusting that he brought it up and shameful that he's now trying to make you feel bad about it. That is not support, that's compliance. The fact that you're trying to still communicate with him is support. You already are doing that. He wants you to have no boundaries, which is suspicious. You will feel much worse for giving this a chance. OP replies, I know. He thinks that I might like it if I give it a chance, but even the idea of it makes me sick. I have no intention of trying it. As a black man who has watched family members fetishize white women without actually respecting them in any way, shape, or form, you need to ask yourself a very simple question. Does he respect you? Remove the race play aspect and look at the whole picture. I bring this up because a lot of those who fetishize someone because of race or ethnicity, a lot of the times don't actually respect the partner. Case in point, obsession with Japanese women by some white men, obsession of white women by some black men, obsession with black men by some white women, fetishizing Latinos regardless of gender by black and white people, "I puppy" stereotypes or strong Latin lover stereotypes, and so on and so forth. That, and let's just be real, who the F wants to roleplay as an effing slave with the loaded past that America has? Back up to the post, we have an update. I talked to my husband over lunch. I did what some of you suggested and asked him where he got the idea from and how he started to like it. Most of you were right. He discovered it on a porn site and began watching more porn videos featuring it. He told me that it's been about 2 months since he discovered it. Then he asked me again if I would give it a chance for him. When I told him that I was uncomfortable with it, he got upset again and asked why I wouldn't support him. He even offered that we could try it once, and then if I didn't like it, we wouldn't have to do it again. But when I said no, he got frustrated and we started to argue. He reminded me of all the things that he has done for me and how much he always supports me, and then called me manipulative. He is now left with the car to go spend time with his friends. I've been crying for the past 15 minutes, and I don't know what else to do. Update 2. A couple of commenters have asked about it since the first update a couple of hours ago. I am now trying to see if one of my friends will let me stay with them for a day or two so that I can clear my head. I am no contact with most of my family, and the family members that I still talk to live several states away, so staying with family is not an option. And my husband owns the house, so I can't change the locks or tell him not to come home. Update 3. It is currently the middle of the night here. I left our house and am now staying with a good friend, and I will be staying here until this evening. I've been here for a few hours now. I did not see my husband before my friend picked me up, but I left him a voicemail to tell him that I needed space to clear my head. I also did what some of you suggested and said in the voicemail that I felt pressured by him into doing something that I didn't want to do. He has since heard the voicemail and has called and texted begging me to come home. He wants to come pick me up from her house in the morning, but I said no. He accused me of abandoning him right before Thanksgiving, and his best friend has also texted me to tell me that I'm a bad wife for treating my husband like this when he pays for everything and he supports my lifestyle. To be honest, it made me cry more than what my husband said. I don't think that I'll be able to get any sleep tonight after this. This is not part of the update, but I have received lots of questions through comments and direct messages, so I'll answer a few of them here. 1. I do not know if my husband has a porn addiction. To be honest, I'm not sure how to tell if someone has a porn addiction. 2. I am 25 and my husband is 33. We've been together for 3, almost 4 years, but we've only been married for 1 year. My husband is the sole earner in our house, I am a stay-at-home wife and I do not have any income. 4. We do not have any children together, but we were planning to start a family next year. I want children, but I'm going to put it on hold until I figure things out, of course. 5. We have done domination in the bedroom before, so this porn thing didn't awaken that kink in him. 6. All of my husband's ex-girlfriends are white. Aside from 2 guys that I dated in high school and my husband, all of the men that I've dated have been Hispanic or black. And 7. Yes, we live in the South, but I don't feel comfortable disclosing what state. And now onto an update/follow-up. My husband is accusing me of ruining Thanksgiving because I won't come home to host for the family. Hello and happy Thanksgiving to all that celebrates. I apologize if this post seems like a ramble, but I've had a very difficult last few days, so my thoughts are a little incoherent. I was pointed in the direction of this subreddit by a user who private messaged me because she thought that I would benefit from it. To be honest, I am worried about ruining Thanksgiving. His family loves to celebrate holidays, and Thanksgiving is his mother's favorite. I host and cook for every holiday except for Independence Day and Easter. I know that his siblings are not going to care, but it's his parents that I'm worried about. I have a good relationship with them aside from their nosiness, but they're traditional, and I worry that if I don't come home and host, it'll strain our relationship. My husband thinks that I'm going to ruin the entire holiday if I refuse to come home since he can't cook, and he thinks that it'll be cruel of me to let his family come to our home expecting dinner when there will be nothing to eat because of me. Update: while I was preparing dinner with my friend, my husband called me. His family has arrived, and his parents aren't happy with his explanation about why I'm not there. He didn't tell them the truth, and I don't know what he said, but apparently the excuse that he gave them was not a good one because they blame me for it. His mother has taken over making all of the food, and instead of turkey, she'll be reheating some leftover chicken for them to eat. Apparently, she scolded him for fighting with me during a holiday when it's supposed to be about spending time with family and reflecting on why you love them. He sounded like he was about to cry while talking. He asked me if I was happy that his mother and father's event was ruined because I wanted to be spiteful and hurt him instead of just putting my feelings aside and spending time with him and his family. And he said that his friend was right about me being a bad wife because I stooped low enough to embarrass him to his family by ghosting them on a holiday. Then he told me that he's coming to get me at 7:30 and hung up. To be honest, I feel awful for making him cry. I know that I should be happy that his parents are supportive, even if he didn't tell them the real reason. But my husband rarely cries. I feel terrible for hurting him like that. I think that I messed up by not going home, but I don't know what to do. Edit: not an update, but please stop suggesting that I go to my family. I am no contact with most of my family, including my parents, for a reason that I do not feel comfortable disclosing. The family members that I am in contact with are more distant relatives. And before any of you ask, no, my husband does not have anything to do with why I'm no contact with my parents. I have been no contact with them since before we entered a relationship, and he has never met them. In the comments, reading posts like these always makes me sad and infuriated. This poor woman is so blinded by her husband's manipulation tactics. She feels so bad that he was crying. Meanwhile, he wasn't crying because he realized he screwed up. He was crying because she didn't come home and cook effing dinner for his family. Reddit God, please don't let this woman go back. He is literally making her his slave. According to her comments, she's been back at home with him for almost a full week. This is definitely one of those situations where you dearly wish you could make someone leave their horrid, abusive partner. In this case, the reason for that starts with the whole race place thing, but oh my god, they most definitely do not end there. My heart just breaks for this poor woman. Age gap? Check. Isolated from family? Check. Lack of financial power? Check. Lies and manipulation? Check. It's the whole abuse red flag parade. She's halfway to being an actual slave for the guy. And I hope that her friend talks some sense into OP. Her husband is already treating her like a servant. He probably thinks that the race play will allow him to use the N-word freely. It's just about the only thing he hasn't done to degrade her. Porn fetish my ass. This is why he married her. Look at the way that he treats her. She cooks all the holiday meals, she doesn't work outside the home, she has no family support. He lies to his family and then blames her when his family doesn't like his lie. He knows that she's not coming home to cook for his family, but he lets them show up anyway. He doesn't make any plans to feed them, nothing to cook, no takeout, no asking anyone to help him get a meal together. And then he calls her and blames her for the consequences of his choices. He doesn't want a wife, he wants a slave. He's 33 and she's 25, and they've been together for 4 years. He was 29 and she was 21, and he owns everything. This was always about the power dynamic. I don't care that they were both adults. She was a dipshit 21-year-old marrying a very much older man with all of the power in the relationship. And don't forget that she's no contact with most of her family. I'm sure that's a bonus for him. Smaller support system. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.